Atmospheric rivers keep pulling in from the Pacific through our holiday week. I'm ABC 10 Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods. It is going to be quite an active period. We are going to be keeping you ahead of it all with in-depth forecasts on ABC 10 Plus, live, local, always on. Make sure you download it wherever you stream on TV. Well, the weekend certainly proved an active one. Our tornado report from our Saturday: peak winds at 90 miles per hour in EF1 in Scotts Valley. That's near Santa Cruz. You can see some of the damage that was reported and recorded from that EF1. Tornadoes very rare like this in California. Nonetheless, powerful cold front, rapidly intensifying system hit the coast and produced this damage here. Taking a look at some of those peak wind gusts, you can also see it was quite impressive, anywhere from 35 to over 50 miles per hour through the Central Valley here. It was quite gusty, bringing down several trees as well as tree branches and some minor flooding issues as well, with our 3-day rain totals showcasing anywhere from about 3/4 of an inch of rain for Modesto and Tracy. That's going to be closer to the Central Valley, but as we made our way northward through the valley, Oroville, Vacaville, both reporting about 2.5 inches of rain. Marysville over 2 inches, as well as downtown Sacramento. Roseville nearly that, as well as Sacramento Executive. Then Stockton and Manteca, northern San Joaquin Valley, 1.25 inches roughly. Our snow totals were beautiful, anywhere from 20 to 40 plus inches of snow, and many of the ski resorts are now open, meaning folks can finally enjoy some of that powder. Difficult travel to get there through the weekend, but as you can see, so many people hitting the slopes at Mammoth, where we had several inches of snow come in over the weekend, and also Palisades Tahoe with beautiful scenes, all decorated for the holiday. It's just that iconic kind of look when you're heading up into the high country. This is where they really make it their money this time of year for the ski resort, so it's nice that we have some powder to do so. Looking at our Sierra snow water equivalent, we did see a little bit of a drop when we dried out through the beginning of December after seeing that big storm come through in November. As of December 13th, and this doesn't even account for our biggest atmospheric river that hit over the weekend, as far as our average to date, we're about 75 to over 150% of average. This is really nice numbers here, especially because we're in an active weather cycle that will stay with us through almost the end of December. As far as our percent of average for April 1st, again, that's about the time of year where we see less in the way of snowfall and more in the way of snow melt. It's a really good benchmark to see how much water we may have through the dry summer months, and we're running about 15 to 30% of that date. For our statewide average, we're 107% of average. April 1st average is 21%, but again, that doesn't account for the weekend storm that came on through. So we'll have some pretty good numbers by the beginning of this next week. Statewide precipitation, these are going up as well. Nice to see that, although Los Angeles, we've only had 2/100ths of an inch of rain. So much of the rain and snow has fallen in extreme Northern California. Sacramento almost 2 inches ahead of where we normally are this time of year, as well as San Francisco. Redding, 5.75 inches ahead of normal. We're near that as well for Eureka. The key factor here is this is where our biggest reservoirs are. So it's really nice when we get these big storms coming through Northern California to kind of store that water. The snowpack is very healthy at this point. Most of our reservoirs are about 50 to 70% of capacity, the bigger ones. Oroville, Shasta, Trinity, all 100+% of average. Now, Folsom is a much smaller reservoir. Water managers have to delicately balance the water storage in that particular reservoir because it just doesn't have the capacity to hold a big runoff. So it's only about 30% full right now, 78% of average. As we move through the Central Valley, we're at about 70 to 75% full for San Luis, Don Pedro, and New Melones. Millerton, again, a smaller reservoir, 40% full, 85% of average, but these bigger reservoirs are going to be at about 100 to 140% of average. Now, this is a really good graphic to follow up with because this just showcases how much water managers have to prepare for. This is the time we actually see 50% of our precipitation for the entire year, with our biggest month yet to come. On average, again, January is our biggest month with almost 4 inches of rain for the month. I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot if you are watching in another state, but for us, that's a lot of rain in 1 month. And we typically get that with just a couple of atmospheric rivers that come through. Those are those big weather systems that pull in from the Pacific that give us pretty much our yearly precipitation over the winter season. February, we start to drop off a little bit, but by March, April, that's when we start to see less in the way of rainfall, less in the way of snowfall, and more in the way of starting to see those reservoirs come up because we got to store for the dry summer months. Our weather impact headlines include morning rain coming in for Monday, as well as Sierra snow, and I'll look at the holiday week showers. Now, we had a cold day for our Sunday on the heels of that big weather event that came through on Saturday that gave us the tornado in Scotts Valley near Santa Cruz. We saw the fog forming throughout the valley. Areas of dense fog advisory, limited visibility at times, less than a quarter of a mile. Very little clearing for downtown Sacramento, and that meant a cold day. 52 the high today. It wasn't the coldest day of the year, but it was in the top 5. It ranked right at the bottom there of the top 5. We had 2 other days that were at 52 degrees, January 12th and April 4th, but our coldest afternoon high reported on January 13th of this year at 48 degrees. Now, a little bit of clearing for tonight will mean you might get an opportunity to see a little bit of the full moon. Now, it officially peaked at 102 this morning, but it's our cold moon, and it has a little extra twist to it. Now, the cold moon gets its name because it corresponds with the cold temperatures, but this particular moon for the full moon, the last one of the year, will be at its northernmost point, something that won't happen for almost 18 years again, just because of how the sun and the moon have a slightly different cycle with its relationship with Earth. So again, if you look up and you do happen to have some clear skies, it'll be a really cool sight. I did see it last night, and it was just really so bright in that northern sky. Satellites and radar showing the cloud cover trying to stream on through here. The band of rain, the biggest band of rain, still off the coast, guided by that low pressure system. This is what's going to push through into our Monday, and it mainly hits during the morning commute for the valley. Lingering showers through the northern San Joaquin Valley into the afternoon, though. Winter weather advisory in place starting off Monday morning, lasting through Tuesday morning above 5,000 feet, roughly about 3 to 8 inches of snow, some higher amounts on the peaks. Just plan for travel delays, chain controls, and some slushy conditions through the high country. Flood advisory continues for the coast. Now, this is not just because of the incoming rain and the rain that we've already had, but also because of high tide. So kind of a combination of factors there. Total rain accumulation, this is a little bit on the higher end. I'm going to forecast more on the range of about 1/4 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch through the valley and parts of the foothills in terms of our snowfall. Again, 1 to 4 inches at the lower elevations. Some of the higher elevations getting upwards of about 8 inches of snow. Snow line is going to be fluctuating all in all. We start the morning off at about 4,100 feet, and then that's going to continue to push its way up to about 6,000 feet by the time we get to the afternoon. A bit of a slushy mix at the Lake Tahoe Basin area. Band of rain moving through at 7 a.m. We see snow to start us off for the day, but that is going to be the coldest time of day when we have the opportunity for snow. Then we get kind of a mix going on through the afternoon through the Tahoe Basin. Snow, though, steady along 395, 88, 89, Highway 124. As we head a little bit closer to Yosemite. Band of rain, though, like I said, kind of lingering here into our early afternoon through the northern San Joaquin Valley before clearing out. It's a fairly quick moving system. That's why I'm saying I don't see a 1/2 inch of rain really in the forecast. It's more likely we'll get closer to about 1/4 of an inch. A likely warmer outlook as we head into our holiday week, almost into the new year, but also likely wetter. This could impact a lot of holiday travel. So I did want to get you up to speed on that. We are 6 days until the winter solstice, but only 10 from Christmas Day, 10 from the first night of Hanukkah, and 17 from ringing in the new year. Future moisture, there is a lot going on in the Pacific. We get through our Monday storm, and then we're dry for much of the week. We'll look for areas of patchy dense fog that could certainly cause some travel delays, but the big moisture plume returns by the time we get into this weekend, which is going to put us on pace to get into some holiday travel ahead of Christmas week. And there's a couple of atmospheric rivers we're going to be tracking. It looks like we'll have one come in Saturday into early Sunday, and then more in store after that with our peak atmospheric river level at about 2 to 3 in the next 7 days. But you can see anywhere from about 1+ inches in the capital region to about 2 to 5 inches a little bit farther along the northwest coast. So we'll time this out. We get through our Monday. We already talked about that one. And we're dry largely through much of the week. But then by Saturday afternoon and evening, this is what we're looking at. I think what's really important to note here is the potential for higher snow level. I showed you that 8 to 14-day climate outlook, and it showed a likely warmer setup, which means we could see a higher snow level. That would ease travel a bit for the Sierra because we wouldn't have chain control so low in elevation. The only thing that I don't love about that, and water managers don't love about that, ski resorts don't love about that, is that it puts rain on some of that snow. So it kind of makes things a little bit more difficult for ski resorts to get people on the lower slopes and puts a lot of runoff coming down the hill. So we'll have to watch what happens here on that Saturday storm system. And then we get into our Sunday evening, a little bit of a break here, and we'll get some of that colder air working in. Monday, very likely our break in the wet weather, and then it comes roaring back here. Now, this is actually a really good setup if all things unfold as such. This is a little far away, so there's a lot of uncertainty. But what I like about this is that we get the rain. Initially, we see the warmer part of the storm come in, and then this cold batch of air come in on Christmas Eve. That could mean for everybody that wants to do skiing and snowboarding for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, even for New Year's, you're likely going to have some fresh powder up there. So it's going to be really nice for the high country because then we clear out. It looks like by Christmas night, and then potentially under that ridge of high pressure once again. Highs for tomorrow near 40 with snow and rain mix for the Sierra. Rain for the foothills with highs in the 40s and 50s. We'll see 40s and 50s along the coast with rain to start us off for the day as well as for the Central Valley. Again, that rain lingers a little bit longer through the San Joaquin Valley. That's how we start off the week, and then we dry things out. Should be lovely for the Sierra. We'll see highs in the 40s to start us off for the week, but then 60s for the foothills. We will not see that in the valley because of the fog issue. And then for the coast, a mix of sun and clouds in there. Rain to start us off for the week, and then highs in the upper 50s and low 60s. For the 3-day forecast in the valley, it's rain for the Monday morning commute, and then we dry things out for the afternoon. We're going to keep it dry. Now, temperatures are really going to be dependent on the fog situation here. A little bit of a north wind on Tuesday, so I do indeed anticipate that we'll see less in the way of fog. By Saturday and Sunday, there's that next weather system we're going to be tracking for the first day of winter. That takes us through our Sunday, and then again, more active weather ahead, potentially for the holiday week. There's a lot to track. We're going to keep you posted on all the weather updates ahead.